What's good, everyone? Jets take off. Jets win against the Falcons. Final score 24-16. Overall, though, I'm not impressed with the first team performance from especially the defense. I know Bryce Hall was having a rough day. I'm a big Bryce Hall fan, but I have to admit he was struggling. He looked terrible. It looks like he might be moved down the cornerback depth chart, and it might be DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner as the cornerback 1 and cornerback 2. I was not impressed on how we were just letting the Falcons march down the field. There was a lot of open guys. Now, was that due to just good play calling by Arthur Smith and the Falcons? Maybe, but we didn't really get much pressure after Marcus Mariota, and it let him throw in the pocket. Desmond Ridder looked really good against us too, and we still had some of our starters in against him, which is a little bit of a cause for concern. Although we did not have, I guess, our best players, we still had some players that will be starting for this team, so I'd like to see the performance be better, but really what I'm concerned about is the offensive line. If any of our starters on the first team offensive line get hurt, it's going to be disaster. We all saw how bad the backups and reserves are in the offensive line. Chuma Edoga looked horrendous. Max Mitchell did not really look good at all. There was a lot of pressure for Mike White that he was dealing with. Thankfully, when Chris Streveler did get in the game, it kind of, I guess the offensive line settled down a little bit, but Streveler also has a lot more mobility. Mike White, overall, he was okay. He was not great. I was not necessarily impressed, even though he was 12 for 17 with 90 yards. It's not a bad performance by any means, but I think Flacco is definitely the clear starter day one with Zach Wilson being out. Chris Streveler, he looks all right, though. I'm going to be honest. Now, how sustainable is it, though? I don't know. Who's going to win the backup between Mike White and Streveler? I'm still going to say Mike White because he does have more NFL experience. He's been around the league for a lot longer. And with Streveler, a big part of his game is running. And come Sundays in meaningful NFL football games, defensive coordinators will be able to contain and stop him in the run game. It's not like he's a Lamar Jackson type athlete where he can even get by all the top tier defensive coordinators' game planning. Lamar is just such a special athlete. I don't think Streveler is necessarily that. But what are some bright spots from this game? You know, Lawrence Cager, he is great. Ever since he made the switch from wide receiver to tight end, he's been showing up in training camp, and he did today again. Leading receiver, 3 receptions for 65 yards and a touchdown. I think he's definitely guaranteed a spot on this roster. I would be surprised if he was on the practice squad. I think he definitely deserves it over Trayvon Wesco, who had 2 penalties. He was not someone I was impressed with at all in today's game. Tariq Black looked good too. He looked really good until the injury, which sucks so much because he's played in that last Buffalo game for us, and he looked like he could be a solid reserve wide receiver for us, like a 6th stringer, if there were to be a lot of injuries or wide receivers get fatigued. But I don't know how long his injury will be. We're obviously going to be waiting to see the injury and how bad it is for him. Denzel Mims, he was okay. I was not overly impressed. I think Denzel Mims is off the New York Jets. It's just how I see it at this point, to be honest. And we could not run the football with Breece Hall. I was not impressed with some of his cuts he took. They weren't really the right reads, I don't think, from the running back position on some of those play calls. Pirine did get a touchdown, but he's still not going to be on this team for a long time. Zonovan Knight was okay. There really wasn't a lot to look forward to in this game from the New York Jets. 2 more players that had very solid games. Will Parks, safety. He brought some heat on a few of those plays. The one that comes to mind is when he absolutely stopped. I think it was maybe one of the wide receivers, caught a ball behind the backfield. Will Parks flies like a bullet, tackle for loss. Amazing, that's what you want to see. And he's been on the team for a little bit now. I think Will Parks is a quality backup safety. I feel more comfortable with him than Ashton Davis, funny enough. And another player that did impress is Brandon Ane. He did a really good job. He obviously returned the fumble for a touchdown, so that was a great heads-up play. Overall, though, I don't know. This game didn't really show us too much other than what we kind of already knew about the players that we just know are not going to be key parts of this football team. Denzel Mims, not going to be a key part. Trayvon Wesco, not going to be a key part. Michael Pirine, not going to be a key part. Bryce Hall, still up in the air, but after today, it's not really looking good. So this is probably the last time we'll see any starters play. I think next week it's all backups as the roster slims down to 85 men, I'm pretty sure. So overall, Jets, can't be too mad, can't be too impressed. Although the Jets were terrible in the first half. Terrible football. It was horrendous. But in the second half, at least they showed some fight, and they did end up winning the game, although it's preseason, so it's a little bit meaningless. So let me know what you all think about today's game. Love to hear all on anything, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.